Good evening, class. This is Robert Riojas with the Week 3 discussion. And this week, we're going to be discussing something that should be on all of our minds as IT professionals, which is cybersecurity. Security should be forefront in all of our practices, and unfortunately, attacks happen all too often. The one I'm going to be highlighting today affected the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Agency, or Customs and the Border Patrol. This attack, there's not too many details on there because it recently happened. And as you know, when an attack does happen, sometimes it could take a while to figure out who or what was even taken, depending on the size of the agency. All right, so in this case, they know that travelers' images were taken as well as license plates. So basically, when you come to a checkpoint, you see a whole row of cameras on the side. Those images are the ones that were compromised. And while this may not seem like a oh my god kind of breach, it does bring to light the security practices of that organization. So they recently announced that they're trying to use the facial recognition and biometrics to make the process more efficient at the airport. That's some kind of data that you don't want compromised, and if something like this could be compromised, it definitely raises some questions that I'm sure makes the Border Patrol and ICE uncomfortable. So there was a confirmed release of information on the dark web. There were people selling that information. So it did have an impact on roughly 100,000 people. How did they react? Well, they basically froze their network and they removed all the equipment from a subcontractor who was ultimately affected because they're outsourcing that service where the data was taken. So like I said, it definitely brings to light some of the discipline problems and processes that may be inadequate to store this kind of data, especially if you're going to move on to something larger scale like the airport security. It's always good to have a plan in case things like this do happen. In this case, they're partnering and still investigating how this happened and ultimately how to protect against this kind of attack from happening. The attack, there wasn't, like I said, they didn't release too many details about it because the investigation is still ongoing. Well, thank you for listening to my discussion, and I hope to hear from you soon.